child of the wolf. You must do what I cannot. Unite my people. War is coming.
Oh, lovely. 2 seconds, guys. Let's put that back on again because it's went up. There we go. Happy days. Everyone's here. Tremendous. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Midweek Mix-Up. This week, we have the awesome Joe Winter here for an interview regarding his recently announced sequel to Song of Iron 2, of course, with the awesome panel of the Midweek Mix-Up. First of all, I want to say a huge thank you for Joe for stopping by and discussing this with us in its early days. It's only recently off the press, should we say, the announcement. So it's great to talk about it. And of course, he's going to be doing a little bit of a should we say a round robin with a couple of podcasts over the next 2 days. So a lot of questions. If all of them aren't answered today, we've got tomorrow as well. Good news. But first, Joe, thank you again for stopping by. It's awesome to have you back. It feels like it was 2 minutes ago that the first one was released. But it's awesome to see kind of, I know you've had, even after the first one, you had a lot planned for this game and its future. So it's great to see the next one already in the works, and there's a lot going on as well. So welcome back. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. It's awesome to be back. It's always fun to chat with you guys about this or whatever other games going on. Pop big news, but yeah. Apologies for not being in the cave today. I'm in my car, hotspotting from my phone. There's a lot going on, but I'm excited to talk Song of Iron.
Awesome stuff. And obviously there's a lot to talk about. A lot of changes since the first one. A lot of planned changes for this one going forward, and a big upgrade over the last one as well. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. We're going to keep the intros for the rest of our guys short and sweet this week because we've only got you for an hour. So let's get into it. First of all, Boxenberger, welcome back, brother. How are you and what you've been doing?
Hey, thank you for having me, and it's great to talk to Joe again. And like you said, he's all over the place, so I don't want to take up any of his time. We can talk about what we've been playing later. Let's get right to Joe because I'm so excited to learn more about Song of Iron 2.
Definitely. Jen, how are you doing today, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Excited to be here to talk with Joe for the first time because I've never been on a show with Joe yet, so it's going to be interesting. I won't bother going into what I've been playing until later, so let's move on. Get
awesome
this
stuff
covered.
Sweet. Last but not least, Patcher, how are you doing today, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm super excited to hear more about Song of Iron 2. Like you said, it feels that it's like maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago that he launched the first one. So yeah, it's insane. So I'm curious about the story. So
definitely awesome stuff. First and foremost, obviously with the we're not going to get into the finale of Song of Iron 1. A few people might not have finished it yet, so we'll not get into kind of what happened with that. But for those who haven't yet, of course, we'll do the same as we did last time. We give away something like 6, 7, 8 keys or something for the game. Got a lot of people playing it. We'll hope to do that again this time around when this launches, whenever that may be, whether it's next year, the year after. Of course, take your time. We don't. we want it to be the best it can be, and I know you only put things out when they're ready, which is also very good. But yes, big plans for this game though. Big plans. One thing I did notice, of course, is I have had the opportunity to play the demo for everybody watching. If you sign up for the newsletter on songofiron.com, you can actually get access to a short demo on Steam right now. So sign up for the newsletter with your email, and you will get a Steam key in your email to play the demo now. So if you want to see what the game feels like and looks like and some of the improvements that are coming to the next game, then you can do so. But Joe, first of all, I want to say congratulations on the first game and its obvious successful launch. It's what we thought initially as well as long as it does good enough to justify continue doing what you love, which is creating this game, that and obviously looking after yourself and being able to live. Well, that is a massive success, and being able to bring out and continue to bring out the game going forward, I have to say congratulations to you. It's a big deal. How did you feel after kind of the launch of the first one and how it went?
It was honestly one of the wildest emotional roller coasters I think I've ever been on. It happened with the release of the Song of Iron 2 trailer too. I think putting something out there like that and having it basically be all my own stuff, it's like I take all the credit but also all the blame, and so it's just so hard to compete with your own expectations, and I was really excited with the positive stuff and the negative stuff, even just sales numbers. Like, it just hurts so bad, and it's I wish it would just be like the best time ever for 3 months. All I did was party and relax, but it just wasn't that.
Yeah.
Which is all part of my learning experience of doing this solo thing. But yeah, it's good. Now I'm clear of that phase, and I look back on it really well. And such a crazy learning experience, shipping it and just like understanding how all that works, like post ship, and how to react, and how those like live systems work, just like how Steam works once it's out versus like getting wish lists. Everything's different, and I learned a lot. So I'm changing a lot of the way I'm doing stuff, and yeah, it's bonkers. And I'm just so in it all the time that I don't. Nothing's ever crazy to me. Nothing's ever like a big surprise. My friends are constantly telling me, this is really good that you did this or whatever. And I'm like, okay, good, because I don't know anymore. I don't know what's real anymore. I can't tell. It's sort of the boulder's rolling downhill, and I'm running along with it. So
yeah. And like I say, it was great to see I suppose not only just the support from Xbox, but of course the community. And again, you've not changed anything this time around in terms of the community and the way you interact with the community and posting your updates and showing different things. And I have to say as well, you posted something unrelated to Song of Iron that made me kind of understand your, should we say, animation capabilities more than just Song of Iron. Was that little clip of what looked like a weird Dragon Ball Z-esque animation with this guy fighting, and I thought you can see kind of in a broader scale outside of this platform Viking game that he's built, just like your capabilities. And are you looking at that animation as well? Are you looking to bring kind of more of that into kind of Song of Iron going forwards in a sense?
That would definitely be the dream. That when I started Song of Iron, that was way more kind of the dream. It was like I am an animator. That's where my great skill is, and if I could make a game that used my animation skill as much as possible, that'd be great. Song of Iron ended up not totally being that, and I honestly relied on my animation ability as a thing that I could get done faster than anything else. And so, when I look at Song of Iron animations minus a few, I see them at like 50% quality level or less in a lot of ways. And some of them much less. But it's like it takes me too much time to do some of the other stuff. So I have to, cut that somewhere else. And if I can do pretty decent animations in a third or an eighth of the time that I normally would spend on them, like I do it. Hopefully with part 2, because some of these systems are built already, I'll have more time to spend there. Nothing quite so epic as the Giant Killer animation trilogy that I just put out, but hopefully just bigger and better stuff overall.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Have you ever thought about implementing, and obviously we don't, everyone kind of, I suppose it's a fine balance as well of getting those what they class as CGI moments, which in some cases you don't have
Oh,
to
yeah.
do, but those moments where you could transition out of controller playability into this little animation set where you're fighting somebody and then it rolls into that gameplay moment. Have you
Yeah, a little bit of that God of War like intro big fight with
kind of
Baldur or
ish?
something.
Yeah.
I consider it a lot because there, the moments will come up and it's like, yeah, clearly this would be a perfect time to have this sort of like canned sequence, like with the wife or the loved one at the beginning of the first one. It's a totally small version of that, but those sort of moments, they just take a lot of time.
Yeah.
Realistically, even with what I can do, and so it's hard to always sort of justify them. But hopefully I just give players better opportunities this time to do bigger and cooler things and feel
Yeah.
like they're living that experience for themselves.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
One thing I want to ask as well, you mentioned, or it's in the green room anyway, so we'll go through this again, but of course we spoke
Yeah.
about the feel and the look of the game now on for the second one just by the demo, and of course that's by far and away not representative of what it's going to be like when it launches. It's going to be even better again. But
More. Yeah.
my notice from just playing the little demo was A, how much smoother it was, and B, of course, we mentioned the graphical fidelity on it as well, and I thought it looked better. But again, we've spoke about this beforehand, and you've said actually it's went the opposite way, but it looks better
Yeah.
because of it. So can you explain kind of what you've implemented there on both kind of performance wise so far, of course, and graphical wise?
Yeah, I mean, just in general performance, I think I've cleaned up a lot of my systems that were definitely more expensive than needed to be, um, and I mean, from the gameplay just being smoother, that's just I got rid of a lot of sort of grindiness within the animations and the combo sets. You can attack back and forth now, which you couldn't do in the first one. You had to stop your combo and turn around, and that really just felt clunky. And there's like a lot of that stuff that I peeled away in it. So gameplay just is smoother. It's not like I've invented some magical thing. I've just sort of removed barriers from players.
Yeah.
As far as like the look of it, honestly, I had some 4K textures in the first one, some 2K textures, and while that sounds awesome, what it really meant was textures were getting clipped and nipped a lot, and then the performance in general was being brought down. So the engine is automatically like kind of de-resing and then scaling up, so you're getting a worse picture. So I've reduced all my resolutions down to 1080 or less in almost all cases, but that's letting me have a lot more anti-aliasing, a lot more stuff on screen, so there's a lot more density of stuff and just all these things. So I've like reduced the resolution of individual pieces, but that sort of let me just blow up what I do in the game as a whole. It's a thing that people talk about with The Witcher a lot, and it's something I'm really trying to take to heart for this. Or if you look at any individual thing minus Geralt in the game, that you ride your horse by, it's probably got like a 10 by 10 pixel texture,
Yeah.
and it looks like it's made out of 6 polys or something. But it lets them put thousands of things in the world, and I'm going after something like that. And
No,
you
that's
can see it
awesome.
in people in the trailer and the demo. It really shows up.
Yeah.
And then that also lets me bring in the weather effects and more the trees blowing in the wind really well. And I've cleaned those systems up, and it just overall it's so much better.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And again, one of the features that I noticed just on the demo alone, again, that we spoke about, was the implementation on PC, at least for the second, of DLSS, which, as you mentioned, again, is a huge boost to the game.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, DLSS is just amazing. I think it takes at the higher resolutions, it takes like it can like double all of your pixels basically, so I can be rendering at like 1080 and getting 2K and vice versa, and that is just massive performance. Resolution is everything to do with graphics performance. So And then I want to do that. I mean, Xbox 2, we talked about a little bit. They're using another one, obviously, because they're not using NVIDIA cards, but
Yeah.
they've got their own thing that I very much intend to implement. So performance across the board for the game is going to
Fidelity FX Super Resolution, or
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
FSR.
so.
Talking about-
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should be bar none better than the first one on all platforms.
Nice.
I'm downloading the demo right now.
Awesome.
Can't wait to play.
Awesome
Yeah,
stuff.
glad you found that email. Because my new email thing is all new. I get sent to update or promotion all the time. So more people will drag those over to their main. The more that helps me out a lot.
I just also signed up for the newsletter.
Yes.
I have to do it manually, so you might have to wait a little bit, but it will come.
That's
Don't worry.
okay. That's perfectly fine.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Boxy, I want to send it over to you to jump in with a few questions because I know you'll be full of them.
Oh, most certainly. So, Joe, we have a lot of talk in the community about Unreal Engine 5 being the big next-gen engine. Can you talk a little bit about your thought process? Unreal Engine 4, that's what you designed Song of Iron 1 in. Now it's on the market. Can you tell us a little bit about this this process for you? Was it easy to switch over, move over?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've been waiting for the announcement and the demo to go live to make sure there wasn't any big problems. I was still on 4.26, which I launched Song of Iron 1 on. But I literally Sunday and yesterday, or what's today, Wednesday, Tuesday, basically it took me a day and a half to convert from 4 to 5. There's one or two things that I've it's like, oh, okay, the math's a little different now for this thing, or they're doing this a little different, but nothing super obvious. And so for me, it was a piece of cake. It was, just rebuild, and then it all worked. I know it's not that easy for everybody. I don't expect it to be. I think one of the things when I'm building the game, I'm building as simple of systems as possible. And it totally comes in handy with stuff like this because then I'm not.
I can imagine.
Yeah, there's nothing like massive or crazy fundamental things that I've changed in the engine that are going to get in the way. And the thing that gives me the most trouble is plugins like audio plugins or UI plugins, and I'm getting rid of all those now because they were such a pain in the butt in the first game. Like just weeks lost to figuring out how to get them onto Xbox and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm going like pure Unreal, and it's just awesome. Unreal 5 is amazing. I'm super excited. I'm not even I haven't even dug my hands into the good stuff of Unreal, and I probably won't use all of it. I'll keep things simple like I always do. But yeah, it's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. So, what are some graphical features that you revamped for the new game? You have a different lighting system, I understand, or at least part of it. That's what I got from your tweets.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just like these little things, like how I'm setting up my day, like when you go into a cave and leave a cave, and how that light all works, and I've just so much more knowledge about it. I've just been able to refine it a bunch, simplify it. Like I think early on in Song of Iron development, I was taking marketplace assets, using them, and then trying to take them apart and use like half of them or something. And now that I understand those systems better, I basically built my own from the ground up, which lets them be way more custom built for what I'm trying to do, and then also much lighter, much less heavy duty than what because any marketplace asset's trying to, like with Unreal, they're trying to appease everybody at once. It's like, here, use this, you can use it for anything, which means 90% of it I don't need. So it's been great to just kind of, do way better on my own. But also, again, with trying to make everything lighter weight, I'm able to use some of that performance in some other places. So like I have volumetric lighting running and everything, which I never touched before in the first one, which forever ago I did my new tree, like it blowing in the wind. I showed like a very nondescript demo of that working. That was all volumetric lighting, and you see the light shafts all get made kind of dynamically, and it's really awesome. So some of that gets faked in the end, some of it gets real in the end, depends on where you are in the game. But yeah, it's just that stuff's just so much better.
Awesome stuff. So you're still working alone? In the first game, I remember you had a little help, of course, with music and things. I assume this is gonna continue. So,
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
uh,
I was gonna tail onto that one actually, because you mentioned music there. Are you teaming back up with Will Goss to do the soundtrack again?
Yeah, Will is coming back for part 2. I'm super happy to have him. He worked on
Nice.
that trailer song for me, which it was basically the theme of the first game, but he did some work on it and rebalanced it and stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be me and him again, and potentially some sound design help because I don't have the equipment for that, but yeah, he's back. I'm super excited. He's excited because it was his first kind of real game too, so he learned a whole bunch. So there's all the stuff that he's excited to fix and do better for this game, and the game has some added elements. So we're gonna get to have sort of more music in more ambient spaces and stuff like that. So hopefully the mood will be there, and we get more time with the music, which will be great.
Yeah, that's also a good thing, like if you already work with him on the previous one, and so he knows a little bit like the the base of the game,
Yeah.
and now getting into the second one, I think it's much easier to work together with him again. So yeah, that's great to hear. Man.
We had so many talks about the mood and what we wanted the music to be like and all that kind of stuff, and now we've basically nothing's really changing. There's a few things we want to do, but that conversation took months and months of kind of understanding each other, and now we're there at day one. So yeah.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
What are the biggest challenges you faced when making the sequel?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, the biggest technical challenges have been reinventing some of the systems from those like the audio plugin and stuff. I think it's always more complicated than it seems, and then getting onto platforms is always way more complicated. There's a point where Unreal kind of stops and a platform begins, and there's a very foggy kind of space in the middle there, and it is undoubtedly the hardest part, especially because I'm not an engineer, I'm an artist, so I come from everything from that side of things. So I will constantly look at code, and it might as well be Latin or some sort of hieroglyph that no one understands. And I can more and more I can take a sledgehammer to it and just delete stuff and see what breaks and go, okay, well then that thing I need is in that in that huge chunk that I deleted. But that stuff's always definitely the biggest, just from the technical side. I think the sort of the challenges though are definitely trying to improve the system that I had without changing it.
Yeah.
I think the people who really enjoyed Song of Iron 1 were able to see through or never noticed, bugs or clunkiness or this sort of thing. And as I fix that stuff up, I am fundamentally changing the game. And I think the fear with any sequel for anybody ever, big or small, is to not lose the essence of the project and really what was there when people were able to see. Yeah, the game really had this momentum and this kind of feeling of your character was a true physics-based thing, even though it was highly faked, and it wasn't it was nowhere near Bayonetta. It's the complete polar opposite. It was slow and grounded, and as I try to make it less clunky, the fear will be to lose some of that. And so I'm always trying to double check that kind of stuff as I go.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
While we are on that topic, if we talk about some of the gameplay elements, one key element obviously was combat and the combat mechanics. And I think I said it in my review. I'm paraphrasing now. That you kind of have the feeling through the game that you actually learn how to fight. So if I compare my combat skills at the beginning, I just suck, and it's really not that my character leveled up per se like in an RPG or so, but I really learned how to do the combat system, how to do the bow shooting and so on, even in the stressful situations. And at the end, I felt like I'm a badass Viking. So
awesome.
Where do we start with the with this game? Are we gonna get introduced again to the combat mechanics and everything, or Is it more like, okay, I got the powers I found in the first game. I'm
Mhm,
gonna
mhm.
bring them over and build up on that. Where do we
Yeah.
start here?
For the most part, so I mean, it's awesome that's exactly what I wanted. I think maybe I got too excited and I gave everybody everything like right away, and it becomes a lot of buttons to remember, and so people were probably had a little bit more struggle in the beginning than intended. But I'm definitely going to try to do effectively that again. Give you a lot of your skills early, and then so that you can get better and better at them because they are it's more than just hitting the button, right? And that's why you felt so much better at the end. And I think to make it better for everybody, I'm going to do a better job at teaching everybody, and then also reminding you how to do certain things more often, so that those skills get developed and people, play the way that it's sort of meant to be played, but do that naturally and not because I'm saying, hey, you should use this or something. But as far as like the story is concerned, there is a bit of a reset. It works really well. Trying to not we'll avoid the spoilers, but like some of your gear doesn't work when certain things have happened that kind of happen at the end because of what it was. It was being powered by them, by this foe that you see at the end, and so that's where that power from that stuff's coming from. So you have to. One of the things that's interesting is with what happened at the end. Some of the cracks in the world are sort of between the worlds are sort of frayed, and a few things are going to kind of be seeping through. You see a little bit of that in the trailer. You hear one of them talking to you. I don't think it's very mysteries that Odin was speaking to you.
Yeah.
It kind of gives you your name, which is a chain breaker, and that is real Odin, not fake Odin, like we saw in the previous. And so there's going to be this great you're going to rediscover very similar abilities, but they're the real ones. They're not the imitations. So it should actually, it's sort of like going to work out in this great way where now that my skills to make this combat better are here, the abilities are actually going to be better too. And it just really plays into the story, which is going to be awesome.
Awesome. And one thing I want to follow on from that as well is, of course, on this one, with, as you mentioned earlier, this game, unlike the last, is going to be fully voice acted as well. How have you dragged in to do the voice acting on this one, or is it yourself? Is it Will Goss?
Yeah, I mean, so Odin was me. I voiced Odin in the trailer, so I warmed my voice up for like a month to growl like that. But I was able to. I was like, just in my room and recorded that one, and then I'll probably bring in a few random people, but I'll try to get a few at least community, like semi-professional, professional voice actors for a few things. The dialogue won't be too much more. It's definitely going to be more because there's more to kind of explain and to set up. But I just had such a hard time. I was telling you guys off screen, but like watching streamers play and then just monotone read the text, it just killed me because it was supposed to be these like kind of epic moments, or somebody's given the epic ultimatum and they're just like, if you do this, then I will kill you. Or like worse than that, and I was like, I can't do this, so we're doing voices. I gotta do it. And so I mean, it'll be most likely, we'll see. The funding is limited, so it'll probably be English, and then I'll still do subtitles in as many languages as I can manage. But I do keep thinking that it'd be cool to do like some Icelandic voice option, just to have or Sa or German or something that just feels like super.
I can help you out with German, so
yeah, something that just makes it like, here's the super Nordic version, and you can just listen to subtitles or watch subtitles otherwise. But that's the pipe dream stuff.
You never know. I know the guy who played. I know the guy who played. Was it Ivor? I think it was Ivor, actually, the male Ivor from Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I know that actor, Magnus Brun. So I'll put you in Magnus Brun's direction.
Yeah, that could be fun.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
I do have another question.
Go on.
Have you considered adding a multiplayer element to the sequel?
It's always on my mind, but I definitely am avoiding it. Multiplayer is just so complicated, and so much of my combat is built on this like assumption that you're always on this one line, and whatever's in front of you. I mean, it would be a mess. Like you'd be killing your friends all the time. It would be very difficult to avoid it. And then also, I would have to recode almost every system to work. So I think one of the things that lets me do these and actually get them done as a solo non-engineer is to do no multiplayer. I started to understand it better. I keep trying to make this open world multiplayer game on the side, and I keep realizing I'm not good enough yet, but it gets better and better every time, and so maybe there's a day where there's something, but it's one of the things that keeps me sane is to not do multiplayer.
That's fair. That's fair. A couple of quick
It
super
would be
chats.
so awesome. That would be so awesome. But yeah.
I mean, I just had an idea of like you could have someone start at one end, like a 1v1 type situation, and then another player start at the other end, and then maybe they meet up in the middle and fight it out.
Really early, I thought a lot of the combat was based on Nidhogg, that like really simple multiplayer kind of like side scroller thing. Like I got a lot of inspiration from that, and it kind of was like maybe I'll do this like a little arena thing, and then it turned into Song of Iron, and I dropped all that. But I definitely could see where it would be like it could fit in that world really well.
Yeah. Awesome. A couple of quick super chats that we're going to get to. One of them is a question for yourself. One was just from Paul. He's an 8-month channel member now. Shout out to the panel and Song of Iron 2. Let's go. Xbox Tester with a €10 super chat there, just saying keep up the good work. Thank you, sir. And a $5 super chat there from Mr. Joanna Dark. He says, to Joe, did you look for inspiration from other titles like Dragon's Crown or other 2D side-scrollers that you may want to implement in the game?
Well, thank you for everybody for the kudos and Dark as always. He's around. Love to hear. It's tough. I actually like, in a lot of ways, I try to avoid direct inspiration from stuff like another side scroller. I really prefer to look at like kind of more bizarre inspiration and figure out how I could take what was good about a random thing and bring it into mine. I think a lot of that is why Song of Iron feels so much different than a lot of games. If I can be so bold to say, part of it's because I don't have this wealth of they always do it this way. This is the normal way to do it, and so I kind of like have to figure it out for myself. I think at this point now that I'm in this deep, I should probably look at some and go, yes, thank you for solving this problem that I've been unable to figure out. And I'm sure there's plenty of that to be discovered. But if people should tweet me a list of games I should check out, actually. Other than that, I like, just way more out there games, I think, is the stuff I try to draw inspiration from or film or something like that.
Awesome stuff. For me as well, one thing I want to know is kind of for those who let's say for those who have played the first and know the story so far, we'll exclude talking about the ending for the second, but what is the premise of the second part of the story then going forward? We know it's going to be bigger and bolder, but what direction is this going in for the second one?
Yeah, so effectively the tagline, the even shorter than elevator pitch tagline is, and then there it goes. It's disappeared from my brain. Basically, oh my god, I remember 2 of the 3 lines. Okay, anyway, it's oh god, there, you clip Joe losing his brains. Basically, now that
all right.
I know, right? Oh my gosh, I'm talking to see if I can remember it, and it's not coming. So I'm just gonna move on. The premise of this game is okay, got it. It's chase vengeance, fight the Empire, and unite the clans. It's the super short thing. So we still haven't fought the guy who is responsible for your village being destroyed and burnt. We've just fought his captain, right?
Yeah.
There's an impending doom coming, which Odin warns us about in the trailer. And so your goal for the effectively Song of Iron 2 is to sail to one of the 4 or to all 4 of the sort of warrior clans and either convince them to join you or force them to join you, so that you can combine all the power in the end and fight this impeding doom. And what that sort of is, is going to become is a much more Metroidvania-esque kind of play style. There's 4 main areas with some sub areas. You see the sailboat or the the longboats in the trailer for just a brief shot. You actually will be traveling. There's some sort of cool stuff with the sailboat, or sailing between the effectively the islands, or the ports and stuff. And then you go through their section. You can go fully backwards and forwards this time, which you couldn't before. It was very like you jump down a little ledge and then no more going backwards. And
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
you can basically cross travel, and there'll be like, now that you have this ability, you can now get to this area, so you'll want to go back to the island. It's not going to be super heavy. It's not going to be super crazy where you're constantly needing to backtrack all the time.
Yeah.
But it should hopefully be, oh, okay, now that I've got this, I'll go to the 2 places I remember that would totally like make this work, and you can go back there and get something to help you out. It is just like, it just makes the game so much more versatile, and it feels way more natural. There's way more exploration because of that. And I just sort of designed the game, just the levels from the, oh my gosh, I'm gonna say it, from the ground up. Just as I've gone through them, I've just built in exploration, so there's a lot more verticality and a lot less just constantly walking to the right. There's a lot more sort of little puzzles. You'll do a little figure 8 in an area and then move on. And then you've cleared an area, so you can go right back through it the next time without constantly having to redo the puzzle or anything like that. But yeah, it's probably going to be twice as long playtime, maybe even a little longer depending. So there's just more stuff here, and I'm excited about it.
Awesome. It's intriguing to know that there's going to be essentially 4 different sections to go to. You mentioned convincing them or forcing them. Is there going to be like a dialogue option convincing, or is it more of a scripted notion? Or have you not decided yet?
Yeah, no, I think another thing for simplicity, I probably will avoid dialogue options. I think it's more like, this clan's this is the Wolfric's clan, so they're obviously not going to want to just join, because Wolfric being the kind of the main baddie of the first one from the very beginning. You hear his name, and so his clan's not. So you're going to have to kind of force them to join. And so instead of kind of going on a quest to help them, you're going to have to kind of beat it out of them. Basically, will be the sort of the gist of that.
Sweet. Okay, that sounds awesome. Boxy, Pat, any questions you want to ask?
Yeah, I got a question. So, like we said before, it felt like really sure to go that you just made Song of Iron 1. But how difficult was it to make the story for the second one? How long did you think about that?
Yeah, honestly, it's been decided, at least broadly, for since before the first one, since really early on. I had the whole story sort of mapped out, and it was just too big of a game to make, so I chopped the beginning bit for Song 1. So I had a framework already. I already had I had the framework. I knew it was basically the Mass Effect 2 of my trilogy, as far as the, like, you're going out and you're getting everybody's story and you're getting everybody together because something bad is coming. And I won't claim it'll be as good as Mass Effect 2, but I'm looking for that mood in a lot of ways. And the finer points of it have been coming along as I go. I knew a little bit of it. The Wolfric and his clan obviously were kind of left unattended to in the first one, and so we've got to deal with them as one of them. And then your original clan you're going to be going to, because the village that burns isn't yours. It's your loved ones, and she sort of speaks to it like, you have to save my people. It wasn't your people, fairly intentionally.
Yeah.
And a few things like that. So, and then as I sort of like, okay, what other areas can I make? I need new enemies, and that kind of stuff. And that sort of naturally builds. Oh, cool! I can do this here, and then that means then the story sort of like kind of comes from the ashes of that kind of discovery. So
nice.
Okay, that's interesting to know. Yeah.
I do have a question. If you go first, Pat, go on.
Yeah, because like, as soon as I saw when this trailer came up, I was like, huh? How fast did he just, like, in 1 year, made a whole new story and stuff, like. So,
Yeah.
but now we know that it came from like basically the first one, but you chopped it in half. So that's
Yeah. It's,
yeah, that's cool.
it was already loaded. It was already locked and loaded.
Oh, nice.
Chen, please go ahead. I have Joe tomorrow, so I can save my questions.
Um, this is more about being a solo developer. So, as a solo developer, what advice would you give to anyone setting out to make their own solo-made video game project?
Oh man, I think do something extremely simple at the beginning. I think I tried to do that. I just barely scraped by. I almost went too far. In a lot of ways, I did go too far, and I think it would have still been better if I could have released like a 6-month project just to go through this cycle with no expectations of like success.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy in Unreal to make a game, some fairly competent game. To make a full game, yeah, it gets harder and harder, and to do things at scale, it gets harder and harder. But it's so easy to spend a few months and go, oh, look, I have this one demo. I'm excited. I should make a whole game. It's so much harder to understand like the business stuff, and the second you leave Unreal to the platforms, all of a sudden you have all these not fun things to do, like have a lawyer and have a business account, and all these like things that are not fun, and you need to do those too. And the less scary you can make them for yourselves, the more comfortable you'll be to move forward. I also give a GDC talk, which is totally worth checking out for people who are just starting. I did a panel with Thomas from Falconeer and a few other solo devs, and we did these little 5-minute talks about the kind of the beginning, middle, and end process. And I talk about the beginning of the process a lot and about how to survive that. I made a cool little tech demo, but now what do I do next? And I definitely would suggest people check that out.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
To follow
I
on
could
from
do dissertations on it, so I'll keep it as brief as I can.
I was going to say, to follow on from that as well, of having, I would imagine you've used a couple of engines as well, even in testing for Song of Iron. Did you immediately settle with Unreal on for the last one, of course, or did you start looking at Unity first, maybe, or?
I mean, it was pre-Song of Iron. Even I started in Unity just because I had messed with Unreal and it was great, and I really didn't know anything about either of them for the most part. I thought, well, Unity's being used for a few games that were like kind of what I was going after at the time, so I started dabbling in it, and I just instantly was hitting walls for myself, and so I just tried Unreal, and it was just like, oh, geez, okay, yeah, no question. I'm already making the game, and I'm not even like. I'm just trying Unreal out, and the game is kind of forming as I go, and so it was a no-brainer for me.
Awesome, awesome
Yeah.
stuff. Boxy, what about yourself? I know you had a question lined up in the barrel there.
And this time I'm gonna unmute myself. It makes it way easier to ask a question. I wanted to ask about publishing, actually. You're still releasing obviously on Steam and Xbox, and I know a lot of people here in chat are big fans of Gamepass. I'm not sure whether you can talk about this or not. Totally okay if not, but of course people want to know. Can they expect the game?
Gamepass is the dream, and unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to happen for Song 2 either. There's always hope that something changes, but at the moment, it's an unfortunate no. But yeah, it's one of those disappointing moments that I've had recently. But,
I suppose it depends on your
unfortunately,
release schedule as well, doesn't it? Because
there's so much that it depends on, and I don't know how much I can say, but I want to be as like friendly to Xbox and their ecosystem as possible. That's sort of they made Song of Iron happen, being able to be part of the Xbox and getting a deal with them for the first one, and so I'm an Xbox guy. I worked for them for 6 years, and I care. I like the platform. I understand the platform, and now that I've built my systems for the platform, it's like it's a no-brainer for me, and so I'll keep the we'll see. You never know what the future holds, but for now, no, unfortunately.
All right. Gotcha.
Everybody email Phil. No.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about ID at Xbox. You've been obviously on their show. That's when the trailer was announced. How is working with
Mm.
the ID at Xbox team?
It's all it's great.
Yeah.
Sorry, were you gonna?
No.
Yeah, I
please.
Yeah, it's really great. I think that team, whatever their kind of top down intentions are, what they're trying to be doing, that team is amazing. They always super responsive. They're super happy to do whatever they can to help me out. As far as just getting into the show, I emailed them. I said, hey, I want to announce soon. Like, do you guys have any shows coming up? It'd be great to kind of work together on that. And they right away were like, yeah, we're doing this soon. That thing got delayed. I was hoping to announce way earlier because I like to talk and share and all this sort of stuff. So
Yeah, I was pestering them for a
even,
while. I was like, can we do it?
The point where the trailer was like done, and Dutch was like ready to show it like the same day, and it was like
I remember that we talked in the DMs and it was like, how is it going, man? And he's like,
yeah, it was so
wait, not long, not
so
longer
close.
than it took.
It's taking forever, but it's so worth it to be working with them for that kind of stuff. And with the media outlets, they have so much stuff getting thrown at them. Hundreds of emails a day are coming in saying, hey, look at my game, blah blah blah. And it's so great to have the legitimacy of Xbox kind of behind me, and it gives me such a better opportunity to be seen. And because of that show, I'm on IGN's YouTube channel, and the trailer did 40,000 something views. It's nothing crazy, but that's 40,000 views I don't have if I'm not part of Xbox in a lot of ways. So it's amazing, and they're all great. I put them in the credits of the first one because of how much I enjoyed working with them and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
Are you
Almost
going to
50,000 views on it.
150,000?
Yeah,
Huh?
perfect.
Awesome. And of course the last one. For those of you who weren't around for that or weren't part of the Discord for that, of course there is a Song of Iron Discord. I know for the first one you had essentially testers, people that helped test out certain versions of the game and build it throughout. Is that something you're going to be implementing again for the second?
Yeah, I'll eventually do that for sure. I think part of the reason there's a demo right now is to have early testing and kind of get people's views of the game like as early as possible. And that's also just to show people who played the first one and maybe were not super pleased with the bugs and stuff, to show people that it's improving, right? But I will definitely do even more testing than I did in the first game, and eventually I'll have people playing through basically the whole thing. Hopefully more than last time too. But how I'm going to run that, it'll probably be through the email list. Discord worked out okay for me, but I think I'm like definitely one of the things I'm changing is a much bigger focus on the email list this time around.
Yeah.
It's so hard to control social media viewership and all that kind of stuff. It's totally out of your hands, and the email lists are completely in your hands. And so the more I can get people to be there than anywhere else is going to be a big thing. So, and like with the demo, everything I can do, I'm going to try to incentivize people to go to the email for that. And it's so much less intrusive, really. I'm not going to be sending emails all the time. I have nothing to sell you. I'm not giving away email. You know what I mean?
I mean, for those, I was going to say,
I'm giving stuff. It's like I give the trailer or the soundtrack for joining, and
and that was obviously in celebration of the 1 year anniversary as well. And obviously, congrats on that for the 1 year anniversary of the first one. Again, feels like yesterday, but here we are.
It does. Both yesterday and like 10 years ago, depending.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like you have been working on it a lot longer. So to see it out in the flesh and to then also straight away be able to get straight in, I would imagine you feel like you're kind of on a roll as well, aren't you? Like you finished the first one, you're like, I'm actually in a roll now, and I just want to keep going.
Yeah, it took, it was probably like 3 months before I could really kind of get my mind on something. And I actually worked on another game, a totally different game for maybe a month, just to like have a creative outlet that wasn't Song of Iron. And then I was ready. I was getting excited again, so I was starting to think about it, and then made the leap and jumped in.
Awesome stuff.
It's been a roller coaster in a good way, because it's so nice with any project, right, where you get to kind of like, okay, I don't have to protect the engine anymore or the systems. I move it full copy, and you just start going in and throwing out the bad stuff and building it the way it should be built, and it always feels so good. So
Awesome. And I'm very conscious for
Nice.
time here, so I'm going to start your outro now because I know you need to essentially slam that laptop closed in a few minutes. So I want to say a massive thank you, Joe, for coming along today for an hour and talking about Song of Iron 2. Of course, I am super hyped to see where this is going. And very interested based on kind of just what you're explaining about the world and the multiple locations you go to and sail to on this occasion, which is a big change over the first one. Very interested to see how that's going, but huge congratulations on getting the second one up and running, and of course looking forward to the launch, and no doubt we'll have you on many more times before it comes to that point to talk about the updates to how things are progressing and things. But yeah, huge shout out to you, Joe, and of course let people know where they can find you, where they can sign up to get access to the demo now. And of course, one final question: when are you roughly hoping to get this game out?
Honestly, I don't know yet, so I can't even say. I think I made the mistake in the first one of saying even like a vague sort of like season at some point.
Yeah.
And it like sticks with you, and then I put all this pressure on myself to manage that. And so for now, it's coming eventually, I guess.
Yeah, coming at some point.
I'll give you that one. But I do. I mean, I have an internal date. I don't know if it's reasonable yet, because I'm kind of like going at in a different pattern this time, how I'm building. So I think all of a sudden I'll be moving really fast, but until then it's hard to guess. But thanks for having me. Honestly, I love getting on. It's always a lot of fun, and thanks for everybody who came to watch. Sorry if I wasn't responding. I'm on my phone's Wi-Fi, so I didn't want to have multiple things open. But to find me on Twitter is still kind of the best place at Song of Iron. That's where I'm going to be posting, as always, updates. And now that it's out there, I can start sharing stuff kind of weekly.
Yeah.
But if you want to play the demo, go to songofiron.com and sign up for the email list. There should be a banner right there for you. And you'll get the soundtrack of the first one for free. And then also within a day or so, I'll be able to update your email and get you a key for the Steam demo.
Awesome
There
stuff.
eventually will be an Xbox demo, but I got to do a bunch of work for that first.
Of course, yeah. And thankfully, Jen has put that link in the chat now. So if anybody wants to sign up to get that demo and the soundtrack to the first one, you can do that there. But once again, thank you, Joe. I'm going to let you shoot off and fly into there. On that note as well, for people who didn't catch the trailer at the beginning, I'm going to play the trailer out now when Joe goes. So you can watch the trailer and then we will continue with the rest of the podcast. But Joe, thank you once more. And look forward to speaking to you tomorrow.
Yeah, talk to you guys very, very soon.
Yeah, Jay, it was awesome
Dungeon
speaking
and I,
with
we
you.
need to align better with our guests.
Yeah.
No, this one was my fault. This was my fault. Oh, yeah, I didn't know.
I'm looking forward to see you tomorrow, Joe.
All right, man. We'll talk soon.
Great to have you on, man.
Have a good
See ya.
one.
Yeah,
Take care, mate.
great to meet you guys. Yeah, later.
See ya.
Long have I waited for one such as you. I name you Chain Breaker, child of the wolf. You must do what I cannot. Unite my people. War is coming.
And we are back in the room. Welcome, everybody. So, of course, again, massive thank you to Joe for joining us to discuss Song of Iron 2. For those of you who missed it, there should be a lovely little transition period there, beginning from the trailer to the trailer, and I will tag it of course, after the show, so at least you know when the interview starts and ends, and learn a little bit more about Song of Iron 2. We will get into the rest of the show now and talk about some of the news that's come out this week, or this past week. Of course, I want to quickly shout out to Dragonheart Yobi, of course, for the $10 super chat there. Thank you very much for the support. He says, peace, love, life, Dutch. Wishing you well. Don't ever give up. You all matter. You exist for a reason. Keep up the great work. Stay safe. Stay good. Great. Good vibes. Don't ever lose your smile. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And of course, thank you for the support from everybody this week as well. But yes, we will get into the news. Of course, there's been numerous releases on Xbox this week. One of them I want to speak about, both Boxenberger, myself. I don't know whether or not Jen has yet, but I know Pat has. But eventually getting around to playing on Deathloop. I wanted to kind of have a quick discussion on that as well.
Yeah.
Of course, eventually getting Deathloop after that exclusivity period finished on PlayStation.
And I'm gladly taking the L. I said I don't expect this game to come this year to Xbox, and I was wrong.
Yeah. But I have had, I think I maybe played it for about an hour and a half, 2 hours last night. I haven't had a chance to play anything today so far.
Same.
But I played a couple of hours of it. And it's far different than I was thinking from a story point of view. Like, I knew the story was about this live, die, repeat kind of mentality where you die and you've got to start again, you've got to die. But I didn't picture it in my head because having not had a PlayStation 5 yet, didn't obviously jump into it. I wasn't going to get it on PC because I don't usually play my games there anyway, other than Age with Boxy. So I didn't want to get it on PC. So I was kind of waiting for it to come onto Xbox at that point. So I didn't pay attention to the reviews. I didn't pay attention to people talking about the game or what they felt about the game because I just wanted to go into it kind of as a fresh when it did release for Xbox. But the story is super different to what I was expecting. I don't know about you, Pat and Boxy, but it's like this weird... It seems like it's like kind of a detective game in a sense. You've got to find clues. You've got to figure out what's going on. Someone is obviously really pissed off with you for some reason.
Obviously.
And you need to find out why they're so angry and why they want to kill you all the time in most brutal ways. But it's certainly different. Obviously, it's still a shooter at the end of the day. There's a lot of weapons to choose from, a lot of weapons to find around the world. But it's very different. I'm kind of enjoying it so far. I'm gonna have to play more of it to kind of get a better feeling for it and whether or not I actually love it or just like it. But Boxy, I want to ask you first of all, what did you make of it so far?
Yeah, I'm in a similar opinion like you. I didn't expect this kind of storytelling. The storytelling is really fast paced. So like you have this banter in between Cold and Julia, to people, and you play Cold, and you have like these really fast paced conversations going back and forth, making jokes of each other and busting the other guy's balls, and it's like something I didn't expect, honestly. But because if you played the previous arcane games, even going back to Prey, or Dishonored and such, I always say Arcane has always something unique to their games. If you look at Prey, it isn't your typical shooter. There's just something different about it, and Dishonored isn't your a standard stealth game. There's just something different about it, and it's really, Arcane games are so unique. They always add something, and I feel like I'm also only about 2 hours in. I actually wanted to play more today, but work has been just crazy for me this week, so I really didn't get much time today for gaming, and I had to take someone on H4 because at work there was a guy, he thought he can beat me, and I couldn't let that stand. And this was the only 30 minutes I played today. So
And you're like, hell no, I'm not standing for this.
I'm not going for this. He said he has this unbeatable strategy with the Holy Roman Empires, and I said I'm gonna I want to see that unbeatable strategy, and it took me like 9 minutes, and then he gave up. So, um, yeah, but that was really the only time I had to game today. But yeah, Deathloop. I played 2 hours or so yesterday evening. I really enjoyed it. I What stood out to me is actually the sound design, and I have to really ask the developers, why would you do that? If you go to audio settings, the 3D audio sound is turned off by default.
That's weird.
So
I didn't
Yeah,
know
that's
that, so I'm
weird.
gonna
really
have to
weird.
go and
And I
switch it
bet
on.
like 99% of the gamers that played it didn't go into in the in-depth menu of the audio and turn it actually on. But when you do, it changes the game. It really does, because like sneaking up on someone and you can really hear, okay, that guy is walking now behind me, but I can't turn around because then I lose the marker tracker thingy, and it's really like awesome. Uh and it definitely changes the game. It's really well done. It runs beautifully. It has 4 graphics options. I'm always a guy, you can already tell, yeah, that the first thing I do when I boot up a game is go into the settings and look through everything I can
Yeah.
do and adjust and customize. And so there are four graphic options, and like you have basically a ray tracing mode that runs at 1080p. No, pardon me. A ray tracing mode that runs at 4K but 30 FPS. Uh, Looks gorgeous, no doubt. But honestly, 30 FPS, yeah, not not playable. And then you have like two 60 FPS modes, like a performance mode and a graphics mode. So both run at dynamic 4K. One prioritizes obviously frame rate, so it's really stable. Or you go to the frame 60 FPS mode with graphics, which favors the resolution and minor graphical details. And I highly recommend this mode, especially when you have a VRR display.
Yeah.
Like you can really not tell about the dips that you see. Um, so it's but you can tell when the resolution drops and it just gets blurry, and it's super smooth in VRR. 60 FPS graphics options on, awesome stuff. And then there's obviously 120 frames per second mode that runs at 1080p. But yeah, also with VRR, the 120 frames butter smooth, but I can't play 1080p. I just can't. So yeah, that's basically from the technical side of things. It's really well done, and it's one of the few games that actually has AMD's FSR super resolution on console, and really awesome from a technical perspective. There's really nothing you can tell. I wish more games would give us these kind of graphics options, like different modes in this way. I love it, and it's really well done. So yeah, the game is great so far. I'm really enjoying it. I love the stealth moments and the combat moments, and I also appreciate the sex bots in the chat. And
At least they waited until the interview was
again.
done.
right,
They're
yes.
early today.
But now we're losing viewers because there's no porn here today. But anyway, no, Deathloop. I'm really enjoying it so far. I've seen on Twitter actually mixed thoughts about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people said interesting in the beginning, and it kind of gets boring when you progress through the game. So I'm looking forward to continue and see if that's true.
Yeah, definitely. Pat, I know you've also had a couple of hours on it so far. What have you made of it?
Yep. Well, like I really like a little bit of the like multiverse kind of story stuff, and this gives me this feeling. You're in this loop. When you die, you get back and stuff. So it's interesting. And I've noticed in the beginning when you have this tutorial that you need to do, as soon as you jump out of the window, you start back at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I need to walk really quickly through the level to get back to that point. Then I realized, wait, I'm in this loop. So let me go back and see the purple thing that you need to pick up. It was still back there, like
Yeah. You've got to pick everything up again. You're like, for fuck's sake, like, do it again.
Yes, yeah, and that's super. I really like that about the game as well. The thing that Boxy just said, the whole thing with the visuals and stuff and the settings. I still need to see what's the best thing for me or what I like, So, but yeah, I didn't play that much. Probably around like an hour or something.
Yeah.
Been looking around a lot of stuff, find out the photo mode as well, and I like that because if you guys saw on Twitter, I post one photo on Twitter as well.
Yeah.
That I made, and I really like it where you can like add the text of that loop and have some other nice stickers on it, So, probably I spent like 20 maybe to 30 minutes into that. Yeah, it got me stuck in there. But yeah, so far it's really interesting. It's I do like the combat as well. The shooting, like the one thing that I maybe need to adjust is like the sensitivity
Yeah.
of like aiming and that kind of stuff. So, but I'll get there and see how that works or what's the best way to play it. But for now, I'm positive about this game.
Yeah, and of course, what you might not have known, and what box you might not have known as well, of course, and I don't know whether or not that's on as automatic, but there is invasion, so somebody can invade you and try to take you down whilst you're playing the game.
Yeah, I turned that shit off. I hate when other players invade my game.
I did that with Sniper Elite 5. I was like, nope, not having that on.
Yeah.
Elden Ring also, I turned it off. It is awful if someone invades your game.
Yeah. But yeah, they can do that in the game. But yeah, overall though, so far, you're interested, you're going to keep playing it?
Yeah, of course. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so far you're enjoying the game though. Intrigued to see where it goes.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious about the whole story, what's behind it.
Yeah.
Like you said, or I don't know who said it, but there's someone that really hates you and wants to kill you and stuff. And
yeah.
So, and it's really surprising because I came at this place where you had this weapon depot, and you get the most craziest guns.
Yes, yeah, I see. I know which one.
And
I know which part you're talking about. Is that not the library?
Yeah.
Like you go inside
the library. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just guns everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah, so that's yeah. I'm curious about what more weapons or what more crazy things you are gonna get in this game.
Oh, 100%.
And I saw that. I think it was who was that in the chat that said that? I think Joanna Dark. I cannot find it, but yeah, he's. I think he's really positive about the game. So
yeah, he loved it. He loved it. Joanna Dark.
Yeah.
One, I think shotguns so far for me anyway. The shotgun's the best weapon. You just blast people away in like one hit.
Yeah, the big black shotgun. Yeah,
yes.
It's yeah, that's crazy.
I found a rare nail gun.
In your house.
A nail gun.
Nail gun.
Yeah.
Thing. Well, it's modified, but it's basically a nail gun. So when you reload, just pulls in nails from the top, and it lets you zoom also, and this is perfect for stealth because it makes zero sound and it is like super strong. Yeah, like you can headshot everyone with it, and it's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Awesome stuff.
Nice.
Awesome stuff. General, have you had a chance to play it as yet?
I have not yet. No, it's installed, but I haven't had a chance to play it. I ended up going back to Metal Hellsinger. I will say there is a bug with that though.
Oh,
If you are playing that game on quick resume, you might want to restart the game because it caused some leaderboard issues for me. I started the game again and it didn't count my leaderboard. Broke my score significantly, and it kind of peeved me off a bit because I was like, okay, that's surely going to put me at the top of my friends list.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have to go and do all that again now. Now that I know that that's a bug. So yeah, if you have it on quick resume, don't quick resume it. Restart the game completely. Otherwise,
The leaderboards
your
don't.
leaderboards
I had
won't
the
count
same
unless
bug.
unless you don't care
I
about
just
it.
exactly. Yeah, I
Mm.
really didn't care. I just wanted to play the game. I
Mm.
also don't care for achievements or trophies or anything. So
So that's the
just
thing,
play the
Boxenberger. I'm in
games.
competition with Dutch now, so I have to beat Dutch. So yeah, yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. I absolutely love that game. Like I said on the weekend show, I streamed the entirety of that game in one sitting.
Yeah.
Bloody loved it.
It is so good,
Soundtrack is
yeah.
amazing. I still find myself now listening to Stygia on repeat today, multiple hours.
Have you already reached the last hell?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I completed
Final
it. Yeah.
hell? Yeah, that's the best stage song there is.
Mm.
So good.
Oh,
I don't
you
know.
mean the
I think
final boss
Stygia.
stage song with the System of a Down? Is that the one you like best?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great song, but I think Stygia is just a bit better. I think it's just the beat in Stygia is just so catchy and it really gets stuck in your head.
It's overall though, it's again hats off to them because it's firmly went up on one of my top, if not top, indie games this year.
It might be my game of the year, honestly, unless High on Life comes out and blows me out of the water. I think it's safe to say that Metal Hellsing is going to be my game of the year just because how good it was. It's also got that addiction factor to it. It's got a great gameplay loop, and that is what matters about a good shooter, and that has that as well as it being a rhythm shooter.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm gonna, because obviously we didn't get a chance to do this before, so we'll go a little round table here to see what people have been playing. But Jen, of course, we know you've been playing Metal Hellsing. But you been playing anything else?
Just Destiny 2. I tried Visage, that horror game. Didn't go much on it. I played it for about an hour and a half, I think, on stream, and I didn't really get into it. There was only one thing that made me jump, and that was more myself than anything. Wasn't the game. I think I was just feeling more tense than I was, and then I just got past that moment, and I was like, okay, this doesn't really feel like much like a horror game. It feels more like an experience than anything, like a showcase for what it could be.
Yeah.
But I'm only an hour in and something into it, so maybe it picks up further into the game. Not really bothered if it does because I've uninstalled it, so maybe I'll come back to it at another point, try and play it on Halloween Day or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not too
I
bothered
think
about
on
that,
Halloween
'cause-
we need to get Phasmophobia, and we need to get a couple of people together to play Phasmophobia. I think on Halloween that'd be hilarious.
I know Marion will be up to join us for that because he has Phasmophobia.
We need to get Jordan in for that as well. I
yeah.
think he'd have a good time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Phasmophobia is a lot of fun when it works. Sometimes the game just doesn't want to work. So.
Yeah.
But there's been loads of updates since the last time I played, so hopefully they'll fix some issues.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Boxy, what about you? What you been playing? What you been up to? Sucking on a lollipop.
Metal Hellsinger, actually.
Yeah.
My kids brought home an entire bag of candy, and someone's gotta eat it, right? It's not good for them. I finished Metal Hellsinger, actually. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. If you enjoy Doom, you're gonna enjoy this one. And if once you have nailed the rhythm and how to do that properly, it's just killing it. My biggest criticism probably about this game is that once you figure out a certain weapon, you just stick with it and you never use the others.
Yeah,
that's me with the revolvers.
Yeah, I use the revolvers sometimes, but 98% of the time I use the sword.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, you're once you get that sword down, you're unstoppable. It's insane how much damage this thing does. Um,
I think it's the pistols for me. I feel unstoppable when I'm using them.
it was pistols or shotgun for me, and I felt the sword was so hard to master.
I felt the same for the
sword is
sword.
amazing. Sword is the best thing. Once you have that down, Jesus, you're really it's definitely OP. Um, that anyway, I love it. I love the game. It's absolutely well done. It has a super diverse environments. The moment to moment combat, super fast paced. Like with this endless ability to dodge. Like in other games, when you dodge once or twice, you kind of have to take a break
Yeah.
in dodging. This game, you can endlessly dodge. It makes it so fast paced. And I actually finished it twice. My first playthrough was on easy, just to get into the whole rhythm thing and see which weapons work. And I'm actually now thinking about the third playthrough on ultra hard. It's really good. I what else to
Awesome
say? If
stuff.
you haven't played it, go and play it.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of them games that respects your time as well. If like you live a busy lifestyle, you'll have the game completed in a few hours. I love games that respect people's time.
Did you
A
manage?
lot of people don't get
Oh, go on.
multiple hours a week to play a long ass game, like say for instance, an Assassin's Creed.
The biggest mistake game developers can make is not respect the time the gamer puts into it. It's really the thing that turns me off in games. When I look at why I stopped playing a certain game, it usually is because I didn't have the feeling that this game is respecting my time.
Yeah.
That's why I always appreciate everyone who tunes in there, because there's nothing more valuable that people can give us than their time to listen to this stuff we have to say. It's just the biggest gift you can give, and if a developer doesn't respect that, or I have the feeling that the game doesn't respect my time, I'm out. I'm
Yeah.
I think a lot of that also comes down to the feel of the gameplay loop as well. If the gameplay loop is endless fun, like for instance, when I play Destiny, the gameplay loop there is perfect. The grind might be a bit annoying, but the gameplay loop
Yeah.
is something I can just sit there and unwind to. I don't really have to concentrate too much on it. I can just shoot a bunch of stuff and chill out. And that's what I love about Destiny.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I
Mm.
was going to say something else, and it's completely went out the brain now. It's gone. Boop. Vanished. It might come back
You're
to us.
just jealous of my lollipop.
I
right?
am. That's the problem. I'm just focusing on that lollipop.
My son had his first day in school last Friday. That's when the school year in Germany started, and he from everyone he got candy, and now we have like this giant bowl full of this stuff, and I can't stop eating it.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Oh yeah, Boxy, did you play any of the Torments on the on?
Mm-hmm.
What did you find of those?
Oh, you have to. If you play in the harder difficulties, you absolutely have to, because like you really need the improvements you get from the I don't know, sigils.
Yeah.
They're called sigils. You really need those in order to succeed. But yeah, the torments, perfect way to, like, if you have 5 minutes, you can do two torments or so. They're only 2-3 minutes long. And it's fantastic. It's a really cool concept to level up your character. For those who haven't played the game, you don't do level your character, the special abilities and everything by in the regular levels. But when you beat a level, they give you torments. It's basically like challenges, like, I don't know, kill 50 guys just with headshots or so in 2 minutes or so, and that's a torment. And if you succeed in that, you get so-called sigils that now improve the stats or abilities of your character, and that's a really cool way to do it, actually.
Yeah, 100%. I
Okay.
loved it. I love the
Yeah.
different variable kind of things that you get on them as well. Like the one that I mentioned to Jen the other day, one that's a little bit like Fiesta in Halo, where it just keeps switching your weapon every time you kill someone. You're like, switch, okay, now I've got to use this one. Switch, now I've got to use this one. Switch, and every time you kill somebody, it changes the weapon again. And that's very interesting. Of course, trying to get 50 kills with weapons that you hate. I'm like, I really don't like this. As soon as you get it, you're like, ah. Like for me with a sword, as soon as it was a sword kill, I was like, thank God that's over.
Yeah. That's for me with the shotgun. But I remember that. That was a good one. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Patchu, what you been playing, brother? What you been up to?
Well, of course, been playing some Battlefield most of the time.
Yep.
Since yesterday, Deadloop, of course,
Yes.
and been playing this small. Yeah, it's not like really a racing game, but You Suck at Parking. I like that.
I've
Yeah,
heard about
it's so
that.
much
Is it
fun.
good?
How is it?
Yeah, it's really fun, man. It's really fun. It can be frustrating when you're not complete the level. So you keep trying, and eventually you will get it. But the more you progress, the more difficult the levels will be. But it's really fun. Yeah, even I played like 1 or 2 online matches, and it's madhouse. People are like hitting you, and it's definitely fun to play. And I think that UK Desirous did a stream on it, if
Yeah.
I'm correct, or he played it as well. So he knows what I'm talking about, and probably some other people also played it. But yeah,
Did
it's
he actually play
funny.
or just trying to optimize his lighting? Because whenever I watch him, he's trying to optimize his lighting live on stream.
Yeah, I don't know. It's he played it. He said he was live, but couldn't see his live stream. But
Yeah, just joking.
yeah.
Awesome.
But oh yeah, and of course, also before we go further, big shout out to Periplug guys, because he reached the 400 followers on Twitch, man. That's a huge goal,
Yeah.
and that's really awesome to hear. Like one of the midweek mix-up collective streamers on Twitch. So
Yes.
congrats, Periplug, if you're listening, or you're probably rewatched the stream. But yeah, big shout out to you, man, and awesome that you got your goal. So keep the work up, and who knows, 1,000
Yeah.
is on the road.
Maybe his partner at some point. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. So yeah, man, that's awesome to see.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. No, absolutely awesome. Another one of the big news things that came out very recently, and we've kind of seen it dotting around over the last few days, specifically since last week actually as well. So originally the news brought was obviously that there was a handheld in development from Tencent and Logitech. Of course, we saw a few glimpses of that over recent weeks, and even as recent as Kojima holding the Logitech handheld just last week at TGS when he was meeting Phil Spencer. Now, obviously, that was, by the looks of things, Phil Spencer's Logitech, because he's been playing it for a number of weeks now, he says himself. So he's obviously brought that over to show Kojima kind of what cloud gaming on the handheld is like. And of course, we know Kojima himself is very much into the cloud gaming or building games based on the cloud, and that's the kind of partnership he's got with Xbox, is creating this cloud gaming game that he wants to implement into it somehow. So of course today we did get the kind of semi-official announcement by Logitech about the release in USA and Canada on the 18th of October. That will be starting at, I think, $350, depending on, I think it's potentially memory or something like that. But it is specifically a cloud streaming device. I don't know whether or not this is a 5G device where it requires a data SIM, or it's Wi-Fi only. I don't know the full details of it as yet. The specs might be there. I don't know
I have the specs right in front of
No,
me.
go for it.
And honestly, it doesn't say anything about a SIM card. It's just not mentioned. There's a micro SD card for expandable storage
Okay.
slot. The thing has 64 gigabytes of of storage,
Yeah.
4 gigabytes of RAM. Obviously, it runs on Android. It has a Snapdragon 720G CPU. A couple of haptics, wireless Wi-Fi, of course, Bluetooth built in, USB-C port, but there's no mention of a SIM card.
Okay. Yeah. Just
So
checking in chat there. Apparently, it is Wi-Fi only.
yeah,
I suppose this is a kind of happy medium device, I would say. It is in the territory of Steam Deck pricing, which of course people can look at and say, if you're going to be choosing between a Steam Deck and this, you're going to go for the Steam Deck. However, on the flip side, you also think, when UK price comes in, is that going to be Steam Deck pricing, or is it going to be close at the maybe the 250, 270 mark? In which case, it's like a cheap mobile. And a lot of people, of course, if you're doing cloud streaming on your phone, for instance, which a lot of people do for Xbox Cloud Gaming, it's on the phone or on the tablet. Having a dedicated device specifically just for xCloud and NVIDIA streaming, which is who they've collaborated with. So they've collaborated with both Xbox and NVIDIA to get both of their streaming platforms onto the device straight away. Of course, you can do things like watching Netflix or Disney Plus or anything like that as well, because again, it is an Android device. But they've worked specifically with them to get the specific streaming apps working correctly on the device. So essentially, it's an Xbox cloud gaming handheld or an NVIDIA cloud gaming handheld, depending on what you want to use it for. Which also then means that you're probably going to have to do some, if you're out of the house and you want to use it, then you're going to have to do data sharing, using a Wi-Fi from your phone maybe, or public transport. Of course, that's going to be the worst option for you, because public transport's always got the worst Wi-Fi known to man. As everyone knows who travels.
oh yeah.
Terrible Wi-Fi. But I would say in the house, it kind of frees you up. It means you don't have to be on your phone 24/7. Yes, your phone's probably going to have a better screen. Of course, it's got a 1080p screen on the handheld. Obviously, the vast majority of phones now have got QHDs or Super AMOLEDs or QHD Plus or something along those lines. For me, it would be, to be honest, it would be quite an awesome little device to have around. Specifically if you've got it maybe sitting downstairs and you've got it connected to your Wi-Fi and you're not upstairs on the Xbox, you don't want to play it sitting around on your phone, or if you get a notification on your phone, you have to dive out of that to go and text somebody back because you're playing on cloud gaming downstairs or whatever it is you're doing. I think it's a convenience factor. It's for a niche market. It's probably going to be centered around, like I say, specifically, it's a surprise they're launching it in the US and Canada first and not aiming it maybe more at the Asian market first, which is strange for me because they love the handhelds, the cloud gaming and things like that. I would have thought they would have aimed at that market first and then reversed it back to Western markets. For me, it's a possibility in the future. It depends on what the price is when they announce it globally. It won't be global launch until some point next year. That's the difference. And I don't need a Steam Deck because I have a capable gaming laptop. So I don't need a Steam Deck. It's pointless. If you don't have a gaming computer, I understand why you might get a Steam Deck, because it doubles up. It doubles up as a gaming PC and a Steam Deck portable gaming console. But yeah, for me, it's a possibility in the future, but it's not imminent. It's not a required. But it is a cool little device. I think the price will put a lot of people off, though, for what it is. Boxy, what do you think?
Yeah, this thing is way too expensive. I don't see that this is at this price point going to be a success. I have no doubt that it's going to be a cool experience if you have like a completely integrated handheld It's just different than when you clip something to your phone and use that as a display. But it's really not worth that much money.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, the Steam Deck, I just checked, um, it's still sitting there at 420, so that's 70 euros more. And then I have a full Steam Deck. I can also play in the cloud, but I also can play natively,
Yeah.
and my entire Steam library and Gamepass. And so I really don't know who they target with that device at that price. I could see that thing being a success at 150, maybe 200.
Yeah.
That's about it. Like when I want to spend 350 bucks right now, with the way the economy is and the energy prices go and everything, and I can do the exact same thing on my phone for free. I just don't see it. I just don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, the idea is cool. I feel like the timing is bad. That thing should have come out either a year ago or so, or at now at a much different price point. So yeah, I'm not really sure who they target with that thing. So yeah.
Yeah. That's understandable. Pat, what about yourself? What do you think of it?
You know, like, it's cool to see the things that they develop. You know, like the handheld kind of PC console thing.
Yeah.
But like Boxy says, you know, like with the cloud gaming, and you can do basically everything on your phone if you have like Game Pass Ultimate. So that's the way that I will do it as well. And I'm not gonna spend so much money on a handheld device.
Yeah.
It doesn't really interest me at all. So, but you know, like they have their people or a crowd for it. So yeah, but for me, no, it's a no go. I have my Xbox Series X and I'm super happy with it,
Yeah.
and I can play the games that I want to play. So that's yeah,
Awesome stuff.
and yeah, it's the price is insane. So no,
Yeah.
not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Jen, what about yourself? Muted.
I don't typically use xCloud all that much, to be honest. So, not really sold on this device. I use it really only to get the extra reward points. Like just from loading up Fortnite, I get like 100 extra points.
Yeah.
It's like okay, and then I jump off. Oh, I don't use it for anything other than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe there'll be a game that
Really,
comes out
like
at
you're
some
not
point.
using XCloud?
No, I don't. I don't really use it that often.
Man, what are you doing in bed?
Watching TV or sleeping.
Jesus, that's not what beds are made for. Like I have this clip thing attached to my controller right there on my nightstand, and whenever my wife is at sleep, I'm just playing some games in bed on xCloud. I love it. It is
I don't know.
fantastic.
I guess I don't really go much on mobile gaming. I've never really been much of a mobile gamer.
But it's really not mobile
Only-
gaming. It's your Xbox games.
Yeah, but I
just
don't
on a
like the
different
feel of
screen.
playing on a mobile. It feels awkward. I don't have any of the extra devices.
Oh, you don't
that
have the
need
clip?
to-
Do you not have the clip
Yeah,
to
I
attach your
don't-
controller?
I just don't see the point of it.
Yeah.
I'm not really much
that's-
of a gamer that likes to
Ouch.
game on a small screen. If I'm gonna game, I'm gaming on my monitor or on my TV, not this.
See, the one thing I want to see improved on it though is, for me, it's the traveling. The whole purpose for me of xCloud is when I'm traveling, so I don't need to bring another device with us. Like, I want to get to the point with xCloud where I don't need to bring the Nintendo Switch. I'm sure, Boxy, you'd feel the same. Like, as much as
Yeah,
you like having the Nintendo Switch with you, I wish they'd got to the point, or we'll get to the point, where xCloud is usable when we go somewhere because right now it's still, to me, in its infancy. We don't have the network infrastructure in our local areas to be able to use xCloud in its full capability.
And then we have data caps
No.
and such things. Yeah, I agree.
So like traveling
when we
abroad
get
and
to that
things,
point-
like you have to take the Switch because the xCloud doesn't really work on hotel Wi-Fi and things like that. It's just...
Nothing really works on hotel Wi-Fi.
No, you can barely scroll. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't really travel a
Mm.
lot, so I guess that's another reason why I don't mobile game a lot. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
Like,
fair.
used to
I
be
have-
much more for me either.
Mm.
I prior to the pandemic, I used to travel really a lot. There were times where the Switch was my most played system, honestly, simply because I was traveling so much. But that's why I'm struggling with getting a Steam Deck right now. I'm just not traveling that much anymore.
Yeah.
And it would be a travel device for me. At home when I play, like you said, mobile games. It's really not mobile when you play like games like Deathloop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have XCloud now on the phone, and so yeah, I probably wouldn't use my Steam Deck right now that much. So for the few travels I do, I have the Switch, and that's when I enjoy it. But yeah,
Yeah, 100%. Like, and the one thing, this is a random conversation on Twitter as well, speaking of Switch, is I still wish Nintendo would implement some form of achievement system, because I would play the Switch a ton more if there was some kind of achievement system on there. For me,
really,
I'm not an achievement hunter by any
Really?
stretch of the imagination, but the one thing achievements help me do is if I'm enjoying a game a lot and they have something like there's like hidden gems or random things hidden around the world for you to find, and that gets this achievement done. That kind of thing helps me explore the world a little bit more. Otherwise, I feel like I would miss out on a lot because it just feels like it's kind of worthless. I've been in a lot of games where they've had quite the opposite. They've had loads of these, and you'll have felt it yourself as well. There's been certain games in the past where you go like out where you're used to searching loads of areas, like adventure games, as you would. You're going around and try to find secret areas or little locations, but then you go to them and like the developer hasn't put anything in there. Like there's nothing. There's not even an Easter egg, and you're like, this is just feels like a wasted space. Like, why would you build this like random
I agree
location?
there, but I feel the same way when I go and explore and I find a hidden cave and I go in there and then I find a random collectible that does really nothing except unlocking an achievement.
Yeah.
That it really didn't do anything for me either. I'm just I know people like these achievement systems.
Mm.
For some reason I just don't get it. It's beyond when I play a game, I want to play the game and I want to earn something for the game, and not a fictional achievement thing
Yeah.
that really doesn't bring me anything but work. Because if I'm going after achievements, like I have to, I don't know, kill 10 guys with a headshot with this weapon while singing Kumbaya. And I just don't see the point in doing that. It, it, I want to play the game on my pace. I want to play and explore games. I love exploring in games.
Yeah.
I want to find something I can use in the game for something.
Yeah.
I don't want to find a random achievement and run around for 10 hours on the map just to find those so that the achievement or trophy pops up. I just don't see the point in
I think
that.
I think for me the achievement specifically is what I'm kind of getting at. Is it just adds an additional challenge to a game that you might not have had if there was no achievements there. So for instance, like in God of War, for instance, and this is a prime example of when trophies weren't used to their ability at the same time, because yes, you could play that game on the hardest difficulty, but there was no benefit to doing that. You could complete the entire game and platinum it without ever touching a hard difficulty. You could do the entire thing on and platinum on the easiest level. So there was absolutely zero point in playing on the hardest difficulty unless you just wanted to torture yourself. Whereas having an achievement there, for instance, for the platinum to finish that game on the hardest difficulty, would have added that level of challenge that people would have avoided.
So it's basically for you. If I understand you correctly, it's basically you want to have something to display towards your friends that they can see. Oh, look, I actually beat the game on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like a challenge as well. Like there's maybe like you might have a game like an RPG, for instance, where you've got side bosses or side quests and things that you don't have to do to complete the game, but then it kind of gives you an incentive to go and beat this side boss or go and do this side quest if you don't really usually do them, because there is an achievement at the end of it. There is something there to unlock. I think that is a benefit to it. Like I've played, like I say, we can all play Pokemon Till the Cow Come Home on Nintendo, or play Mario Kart and have fun with your friends, but like there's no achievement for playing Mario Kart on the hardest difficulty setting. Like there's no incentive for you to do that.
But there actually is, and it's way better done because you get you unlock car parts that you then can use in game.
You can. But you can do that anyway and still have the achievement.
That's what I want.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is it's more of an addition to. So yes, you still have your in-game unlockables and all that things, but this is more just challenge. For instance, it's things that you would usually not do to kind of encourage you to go out of your way to do something that you would otherwise avoid, like essentially non-required things. So okay, like I can play the game all the way through to completion, but not do any side quests. I can not do this side boss. I can not go and find these collectibles, but then having achievements.
But shouldn't the side quest, the side boss you described, shouldn't the incentive be like if you do the side boss, you get this cool armor, this awesome weapon, and not a random achievement on Xbox that increases a fictional gamer score that really doesn't mean anything?
You would think so, but sometimes a lot of so for instance, you might unlock this cool armor or unlock this cool weapon, but if you can complete the game all the way through to its end and that armor or weapon wasn't required, then there's no incentive to go and get it anyway, other than just to look cool. So there's pros and cons to it. And I understand where you're coming from because you don't care for achievements, which is fine. And I'm also the same. I'm not an achievement hunter. Like I've got people. I'm only on 100,000 G. But I know people with like 500,000, like several 100,000, millions, 2 millions. I know that people are just like, and if you have a look at the leaderboard for achievements on a month, I'm usually like in number 70 or something ridiculous. But the vast majority of people like that I see at the minute are like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 Gs already for the month. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like they've either play a lot of games or they play a lot of things to completion. So there's a lot of people that love it. And for me, it's more of a great addition to a game. It's not something that you should build a game around, but it's just an addition, a great add-on. And it would, as much as I love Nintendo games, I certainly don't play them as much as I want to, because I'd rather play that on an Xbox or play it on a PlayStation, where I'm going to have an additional thing of, boop, oh, there's that little pop-up thing, but I'm also going to get this, and I might get a cool little something for it. Whereas on Nintendo, it's a case of it is old school gaming on Nintendo. It's just, here's the game, play it. And that's where it is. Yeah.
That's all I need. But I do get your point. And who am I to take away the enjoyment of achievements, trophies from others? I really, it's cool that they are there for those who enjoy them. They are just not for me. I just want to play the game. I want to have fun in the game, and I want to play the game the way I want to play it, and not the way I have to play it because to unlock a certain achievement.
No.
So, Pat's also got a few, because I know me and Pat are exactly the same. We've got certain games where we want to get all of the achievements, and then there's other games where we couldn't care less. So
yeah, exactly. And I really like the discussion that you guys are like having right now. You know, like I agree with Dutch as well, and I understand what you're saying, Boxy. You know, like the extra challenge that it gives you to complete the game, it makes it more. For me, it makes it more fun. You know, like right now I'm really focused on Battlefield. I'm at 55% right now. I'm over half, and I have this game for like a week and a half or something.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
like I'm trying really. I'm not that I'm really focusing on the achievements, but if I can get one, I'll get it. I'll try to get it, and that gives me the challenge, and that's for me. It makes that a little
Yeah.
bit more fun
So,
to
so
That's cool.
like
That's
yeah,
absolutely
of
cool.
course,
I
But
think
I
And
understand what you're
it's so
saying.
funny. I'm
So,
looking right now at because I have no idea. I'm looking at my achievements in Age of Empires 4. I have 29 out of 89 achievements, and I have like almost 300 hours in the game, and I really don't care.
I think for me, it's where I like achievements the most is in games that I thoroughly love. So when I
Yeah.
like for it like Pat with Forza, every time Forza comes out, like he loves the game, like Forza Horizon, but he's like, right, like I love the game so much, I'm gonna get all of the achievements before the next DLC comes out. So he kind of sets himself that challenge. He's like, right, I'm gonna finish everything, and I'm gonna get all the cars, and I'm gonna get all the houses, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna unlock all the achievements. And it's exactly the same for me. Like the only time I really work towards achievements is if I love a game. So whether that's an indie game or whether it's a big AAA, I don't care. Like if I truly love that game, even if I finished it, I'll be like, right, I'm gonna play it again because I loved it and I want to finish the achievements and I want to get that 1,000 and then even potentially tell the developer, listen, not only did I love that game, but like I finished it to utter completion. I found everything there was to find. I got all of your achievements done. Like it was fun, and that's the way I want.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather play it for achievements, like an addition to a game that I love. If it's on a game that I don't like, then you'll tend to find I'll just get the completion and then just put it down. I won't go for the rest of the achievements because I don't care. I'll just get that bit where it's like, boop, yep, you finished the game, terrific, and then I'm out. That's me done. But if there's a game that I absolutely
I'm very
adore,
much the same.
yeah, yeah. If there's a game that I absolutely adore, I want to get the achievements. Like I'll go out of my way to look up guides and how to find the hidden whatever it is, or go and find the secret location or the secret ending. Like Cyberpunk has like 6 endings or something, and one of the achievements is like get the secret endings and stuff. So it depends on how much you love a game. Certain games are enhanced by it, other games are held back by it. But I think achievements should only be used to enhance the experience or give you an additional challenge if you love that game. And that's really what I'm wanting achievements for. Is for those games I love, I want additional challenges afterwards, because there's nothing worse than completely finishing a game and not being able to go back to it other than just to replay it, because you've literally done everything. You've done all the side quests. You've done all the regular quests. You've done the main missions. You've done all the boss battles, and you're like, I love this game so much, but there's no like incentive for me to go back to it anymore. I've done everything. You know what I mean? So that's when I think achievements come into it as a benefit. Is then to say, right, now I've got a reason to go back. Now there's something else. Like, is this higher difficulty they've introduced, or there is this, I need to do it in this time, or like a speedrun achievement or something ridiculous. Just additional challenges to give you, just to get more out of it. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just not, appealing to me, but that's a me thing.
Yeah. No, it's not just you. Bailey Making Rent was saying the same thing in chat. He doesn't mind them, but he doesn't think Nintendo needs them, and a lot of people would agree with you, to be honest. It's the vast majority. Achievement hunting or getting achievements is a Marmite thing. It's you either like getting achievements or you couldn't care less. There is no in between.
Yeah. No.
There's no real in between there. That's fair. That's fair. And Jen, I know you said exactly the same thing. You're kind of middle ground.
I'm sort of the same. It really has to be something special where I'll push to try and get full gamer score, or it goes the other way and I'll check if the game's really easy to get full gamer score, and then I'll only do it. But yeah, I'm sort of in the middle there. I can live with or without achievements. I'm not really bothered.
Yeah, yeah. Like like one of the thing was like getting like as soon as because I'm not, but now I'm absolutely not bothered about achievements. Like the beginning of I think it was the beginning of last year. I went right. My mini goal is to get 100,000 gamer score. Once I've got that, I'm fine. Like I'm happy. I've got that 100,000 and that's me done. Like I'm not gonna search for gamer score anymore. So I've hit that, and now I don't have to think about it anymore. Now I'm above that. I'm above that threshold that I wanted because I was like I've been on Xbox for like what like 14, 15, 16 years or whatever it is that's shown on my profile now. I'm like, and I was sitting on like 30,000 gamer score from all that time. I was like, really? Like, I need to do something about that. Just, it's as if I've not actually played any of the games I've played across the years. So it feels like I kind of needed to make up for it. So I went and got that, and now I've got no need to go and jump into it. But yes, I'm going to dive out of this topic though and talk about another awesome little announcement here though that I'm actually quite intrigued about, and also obviously showing them a little bit more leg room, should we say, and a little bit more trust now. But we had the announcement from Marvel and EA Motive that they are creating a new Iron Man game. This isn't the only Marvel IP as well that they have in the works. According to Marvel, there is other games in the works as well in the future from Motive. But this is a single-player game being designed for the ground up for next-gen systems with Marvel and EA Motive. Of course, EA Motive were the developers, of course, behind the Star Wars Squadrons single-player game that came out, of course, which was really good. But I'm always thinking primarily, and we've mentioned this a lot of the time, the actual feeling of playing Mass Effect. Granted, sorry, not Mass Effect, Anthem. The feeling of flying around and the combat in Anthem was actually really good. It was just the content that let that game down.
It was the only good thing about it.
It was, yeah. But if you then take that feeling of flying around and then apply it to Iron Man in a single player world, not a multiplayer, open action, whatever it is, this live service game, and just plonk it into that realm, I think that could be an absolutely awesome thing there. Boxy, what do you make of the announcement that EA Motive are going to be making an Iron Man game?
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned Star Wars Squadron as the Motive Studio game, because I think that's probably the worst game that they put out. There are other good examples you could have mentioned. Like, I really enjoyed Star Wars Battlefront 2. It was good. They are doing the Dead Space remake
Yes.
that is coming out in 23. So let's focus on that, because Squadrons really wasn't it. But no, I'm super excited for this Iron Man game. I mean, my first thought obviously was coming from EA, Anthem. I mean, we had Anthem, and Anthem obviously was a controversial game, but the core gameplay mechanics of Anthem were fantastic. The flying felt really good. The shooting was satisfying. The core gameplay of Anthem was really good. It was the bad post-launch and endgame support that they had that made people angry. But I have really not seen anyone say anything bad about the actual gameplay mechanics. And basically, that already was an Iron Man game. So I consider that to be Iron Man 1.0, and this is going to be the
That was like the Iron Man beta.
Exactly, like the beta. And this time it's a single player game. I love that. I love that EA is trying to do more of those. They had a super successful one with Jedi Fallen Order, and I can't wait for Jedi Survivor. Fallen Order was my game of the year that year. I really loved that game.
Yeah.
And it was so atypical for for EA. Yeah, no microtransactions, no DLC, no multiplayer component whatsoever. Just a fantastic game from start to finish, and I loved it. They went
I'm
off with
really
it.
surprised we haven't seen more for Jedi Survivor, considering it's supposed to come out
Yeah,
early
it
next year.
honestly, I know it's not gonna happen, but internally I'm still hoping that we actually get an EA showcase, probably towards the end of the year, because they also said, "Hey guys, we are gonna show you Dragon Age this year," and so far we haven't seen it.
Or Game
Then
Awards.
we have survived. Pardon me?
Or Game Awards.
Oh, Game Awards. That could be. That could be. Yeah, yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? And yeah, Survivor. I'm not sure why they wait so long. Apparently, it comes out early 23. What we hear, but who knows? Probably getting pushed towards the end of 23, and then yeah, they still have plenty of time to show it. Honestly, if I were any publisher, doesn't matter which one, I would use the time right now to show off some games.
Yeah.
I feel like it is the perfect time because next year a lot of stuff will get buried. You have like 3 major releases each month, AAA releases each month. These, and then you have like the big shows coming back, like E3 and stuff. And I feel like these are gonna eat your lunch. If you have a game to show off, do it now, and you're gonna own the news. Everyone's gonna talk about it. So I feel like right now it would be a perfect time. But if it's not ready to show, it's not ready to show. That's just what it is. But coming back to Iron Man, awesome stuff. We get a single player game. Hopefully they're gonna carry over some of the mechanics from Anthem, and if I were EA, I would just do that, obviously.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is awesome.
100%. Like,
To say.
for me,
I digressed a little.
No, for me, the feeling in Anthem, of course, is when you're initially taking off and you've got that like blast of like force coming off the
Yeah.
ground, and then when you're in the
you really had a feeling it's like,
Yeah.
bam, now I'm pushing out in the open wild, yeah.
and then it's also being able to when you're not on the floor, being able to like hover above it and then just stand there with your missiles and things and just rain hell down on the floor. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm picturing when I'm thinking Iron Man, because of course, and depending on how much you watch Marvel, the later iterations of his suit allow him to like fire rockets out of his shoulders and like beams out of his hands and things, and that just fits in. Like, I'm already picturing how that felt anyway on Anthem, and the flying around and boosting around everywhere and like force fields and stopping bullets, and yeah, there's so many mechanics they could just lift straight in. Just use that.
Absolutely. use that, then make some gorgeous graphics. Don't force them to use the Frostbite engine. Nothing against Frostbite. Frostbite is a drop that gorgeous engine, super powerful. But we hear that depending on the genre of the game, it is a pain in the ass to work with. And since it's now more or less optimized to either use first-person shooters like Battlefield or sports games like FIFA, yeah, other studios moved away from it. For Jedi Fallen Order ran an Unreal Engine, so
I think judging by their portfolio, they're going to use Frostbite in the vast majority for these bigger worlds. I don't know why they're still using it in FIFA, which is to me that's a bit strange anyway. I don't know why they don't use Unreal for that, but it might be easier to just get FIFA working better than there.
Well, because it costs them a lot of money to use Unreal. It's like always easy to say just use Unreal, but dude, you have to pay Epic a significant cut of your money, of your revenue when you use Unreal. Like the first million you make is free. That's why it's so popular for indie developers.
Yeah.
After you make 1 million revenue off of Unreal, you gotta pay, and you gotta pay significantly. And having your own tools, you're not gonna pay that. So,
Yeah.
No.
Definitely. Jen, you're a big Marvel man. What do you make of the Iron Man announcement?
I'm excited, but we know EA can stumble. Hopefully,
Hopefully
they
it's
pull it
another
off,
Survivor,
'cause I would
like
love
another
to see
Jedi.
an Iron Man game. Hopefully, yeah, it's in that sort of vein, but it's not Respawn, which would be an improvement if it was Respawn. I'm excited for it.
But Respawn
Obviously,
can't make every game.
true, yeah.
Right.
They can't make everything. I'd like them to. But yeah, I am excited. We've seen nothing, not
Yeah.
even a teaser trailer, just a splash screen of a shadowy Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
So I can't really get hyped for that.
I think the only thing that's got me a little bit more happy is knowing that this is strictly a single player game. It is a single player experience.
Yeah.
That is the only thing that I'm going, thank God for that. They can't
Good, yeah, that's good.
thump in loads of random stuff.
Yeah, because we can't have another Avengers type half-baked game that comes out broken, with loads of problems. There was loads of bugs and such with all the characters in that game. Iron Man felt a bit janky in that game as well.
Mm.
So yes, that's not a great example for Iron Man, and I'm sure any other team out there could probably do a better job at it. But we all know Marvel's Avengers was mainly focused on being a live service game to generate this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Fingers crossed it's a good game. I can't really say I'm hyped until I see a trailer for it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Pat, what about yourself? Are you hyped for it? Are you looking
Well-
forward to seeing what they do?
Yeah, definitely. Because, like you said, it would be nice if it's an open world where you can fly around the city, and it, if that's gonna be the case, I hope it's gonna be like a little bit of the Matrix kind of vibes, the what you had the test gameplay, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be pretty cool though. So, but yeah, if we don't see a lot yet, I cannot say anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I hope they it will not be like the Avengers, because that, like Jen said, it sucked. And gameplay wise, I also didn't like the whole thing with the Iron Man movement and combat and stuff. So I hope they work on it. I have played Anthem for a little moment, not that much, but I can still picture that what you were saying, like hovering and flying around and stuff. So yeah, that would be pretty cool if they, like use that.
Yeah.
And yeah, who knows? Hope
And-
we gonna see something soon or hear something soon about it. And
Yeah, I would
that will
imagine.
be
I'd
pretty
imagine we'd hear about it after kind of Dead Space and things. They'll get that out of the way of, and depending how big EA Motive is, depending on what kind of part of the development is, they did say it was in early development, so that's I would imagine still
No.
in the kind of write up stages at the moment. But the kind of movement I'm thinking of is, and everyone who's played Anthem will know what I'm talking about. You had several ones, but there was one that was very agile. I've forgotten the suit that you used for that, but it was like more of a thin Anthem suit, and the guy could do like backflips and like spin around and things like that. And I'm thinking that is probably more of what you would think Iron Man would be like if he was flying around, because essentially it's more like a human-sized suit, not like this big juggernaut that you could fly around
They
in.
could go to the extent of having multiple Iron Man suits. We know in the movies he's had
Yeah.
multiple Iron Man suits with the
Could
big
unlock them,
tanking
yeah.
Hulkbuster suit. So
Yeah, he could unlock
they,
them.
they could do different points in the game where you're fighting different enemies and you need different suits to fight those enemies.
Do you think they'll be looking, and final question before we can wrap things up on today's show, do you think they'll be looking to take inspiration from Insomniac's Spider-Man in terms of the world and story they've built within Spider-Man?
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Marvel want to build that shared world game universe as well, as we know. They've mentioned that before. Maybe this could go alongside that. But who knows? It depends really on how Sony want to handle their games. Because
Yeah.
obviously they've got their Spider-Man, their Wolverine in the works, and whatever else they may have in the works.
Yeah.
Depends, I guess.
Yeah. Pat, do you think they're going to take inspiration from what Insomniac have managed to do with Spider-Man?
Might be, you know. As you guys know, if there's one game I really want to play, it's Spider-Man. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of videos. I've been watching that multiple times. So that yeah, if they get like inspiration of that,
Yeah.
why not? You know, like it would be cool.
Awesome stuff. Boxy, do you think they could take inspiration from Spider-Man?
Sure hope so. Spider-Man, besides the Arkham series, the best superhero game out there. Just is. It's fantastic from start to finish. The story is fantastic. The writing is superb. The combat is fun. The open world is really well realized. There's great pacing from these while swinging through New York City. You find these little robberies. You just stop, help guys out, and be on your way. It's so well done. Spider-Man is an amazing game, and if you make a superhero game, you can only learn from it. So I sure hope they take notes.
No.
Yeah, 100%.
I think they kind of have to go bigger with Iron Man, though. Restricting him to one city would be a little bit silly. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
know in
yeah,
the
sure.
movies, he's a superhero that goes global. He's all over the place when he needs to be. And he
Honestly,
can
I
get there
don't.
pretty fast with his suits. So
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily have to make an open world game. Not everything needs to be open world these days.
Yeah.
Sometimes a more linear experience can also really help, like these moment to moment set pieces. So if you take notes from games like Tomb Raider, Uncharted, kind of, or even Hellblade or such games where you have like linear story progression and very uh, very narrated and what's the proper English word, like these big set piece moments.
Yeah.
That could also really well work for Iron Man, and then maybe do something more on the story side of things, like
I
sprinkle
think
it in.
I think I'd expect this, and this is my personal opinion more than anything. I expect this to be a mix between semi-open world and maybe semi-linear.
Yes.
So maybe a mix of both of those.
I would, yeah, because like
Maybe
you,
each
I was gonna
section
say,
of the game you're set in like a part
Yeah.
of the world. For example,
yeah,
like in the first movie, he goes back to Afghanistan to destroy all the weapons that are in the terrorists' hands. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe it could be set
Well,
in multiple locations in the world with different things to do while you're in that neck of the woods or such.
certainly very interesting. But it's good to see that they're kind of branching out, and I'm glad to see EA aren't trying to make another live service game out of an Avengers title or Marvel title. Like of course we saw from Square Enix, who kind of I think wasted their opportunity on that front, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. They live and learn, and I'm sure, of course, Marvel and Disney have learned from that experience as well. But super excited to see what comes of it, and what we'll learn about kind of going forward. Of course, that is the end of the show for today. It's been an absolute blast. Again, once more, a huge shout out to Joe, who joined us for the first hour of the podcast to discuss Song of Iron 2. Of course, if you missed the section there with Joe, it'll be available on demand straight after. But the first hour of the show is strictly talking all about Song of Iron 2 and what to expect from the game going forwards. Its setting, its story, and some of the new features and things that are included within that, and how to access, of course, the early demo that's available on Steam now for Song of Iron 2. But we will get into the outros first and foremost. General C, let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you're going to be up to.
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch, _General_C, and I'll be back to streaming tomorrow and Saturday, as well as back here on Sunday for the Sunday show.
Awesome stuff, awesome stuff. Boxy, you've also got an awesome show lined up tomorrow as well. Let people know where they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Yeah, we have the World of Gaming tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central Europe, 7 p.m. UK, or 2 p.m. Eastern, depending on where you're listening. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Like we said earlier, we have to better align our guests because Joe is also coming on tomorrow. But I've got some questions prepared for him that we didn't cover today. So
Good.
we are still gonna have a lot of fun. And besides that, we also have Joe only for like 45 minutes or so. And then we're gonna have the regular podcast with some cool topics. A lot of people seem to miss this week, so it's definitely gonna be a fun show. And I hopefully will be getting back to making videos again. I took a little break here for the last 2 weeks or so. Just been super busy with work. Honestly, I just didn't find the time and the so but I'm yeah, really looking forward to getting back into making edited videos again. Really miss that. Love doing it. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. And other than that, you can always find me online in Age of Empires 4 or maybe Deathloop.
Awesome stuff, awesome stuff. And last but not least, of course, the awesome Patcher. Let people know where they can find you and when they can watch you streaming Battlefield or Dead. I was going to say Deadpool, Deathloop.
Deadpool? You know more than me then. You guys can find me, of course, on Twitter, Petru070. Same accounts for Twitter, Twitch as well. Sorry. Definitely going to stream some Battlefield. Not sure when. I just stream when I can and if I want. Might be streaming some Deadpool. Seems too Dutch, but nah. Yeah,
I'm sure it's backwards compatible.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, might do a little Deadloop stream, of course, to see or show people how it is if they didn't play it yet. But yeah, most definitely Battlefield. If you guys have the game and you see me online, just join me, or if I'm with Dutch or with other people playing. So always happy to have more people in the party to play. So yeah, man.
Yeah, always awesome, always good fun. It's playing as a party on Battlefield than it has been playing alone. I've always said that, and it always is so much more fun.
Yep.
But yes, thank you again to the awesome chat again today as well. And thank you to everybody who super chatted and renewing channel memberships and everything. Thank you very much for the support, as always. It's been an absolute blast. Of course, next week we have the founder, David Goldfarb, for Metal Hellsinger on the show as well. So we'll be talking all about that, of course. It's one of our games of the year. If not the game of the year so far for two of us at least. It is right up there, and no doubt it's going to win, or potentially win, Indie Game of the Year this year as well. It's certainly within a chance. There's a lot of awesome indie games out this year, but looking forward to discussing a lot of different topics with David there about Metal Hellsinger next week. So other than that, of course, you can find me on the World of Gaming with Boxy tomorrow. You can find me again as well on Sunday for the weekend edition, and again back again next Tuesday for the awesome Save Tuesdays. Oh, and later on this evening for Primetime Gaming, because I nearly forgot that one. Be on Mr. Boomstick's Primetime Gaming later on this evening as well. But until next time, guys, thank you again once more for stopping in. For everybody who watched, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Whether you're watching on demand, I hope you enjoyed the show as well. Have an awesome evening, and we'll see you all again next time. Goodbye.
Later.